Okay, well, hello there, morons. It's Victor, 1 a.m., 1:24 a.m. on a Monday night. It's July 1st, and I got a new computer. Yep, finally using this baby. Haven't had anything to drink all night, so why don't we celebrate while we get on this is a last week in Japan tonight with Victor having a little whiskey, and I'm just going to cover a few things I want to talk about. First of all, I got a new computer. Yay! That's great. No excuses now. So that's one reason I'm making this video, because no excuses. I spent a lot of money on this baby. Cheers to you, computer. And I might as well make use of it, because that's what it's for. This is a laundry video, which means I'm going to talk quite a bit. I'll try to keep it short, though. I'll try to keep it short. About various topics, and my mind will wander and go off on different things. I want to start off with the community. Garry, Arg Garry, which I will show you who he is. I want to talk about Arg Garry and a weirdo. So please bear with me, because this is kind of an interesting story. I know whenever I shout out other YouTubers, people are like, we don't care. Most people don't care. And I've noticed those videos don't really do well. Even when I have like my friends in my videos, I understand you guys just are not that interested or whatever. I have want to say, you just want me, but anyway, this is our Garry right there. You can see him right there on the video, right? Okay. I got the white. I got the what's it called? The fisheye lens on it, so you can see quite a bit. Okay. Is that better? Yeah, that's better, right? It's a little bit of everything. Okay. So here's the point. Here's the funny story. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a funny story about this guy. Now, let me begin by introducing Garry a little bit. I've known Garry, I guess on and off for about, let me see, 20 years or so. First time I met him, I think my first memories of him are he's always wearing a suit and was clean shaven. But over the years, he's evolved and changed, and he's now often wearing a really big beard. Calls himself the Santa of Iwakura, which is where he lives. And he's quite an eccentric character. He's also one of the strongest people. I mean, I think he's like 60 or so, and he's like extremely strong, like unhumanly strong. Okay, I mean, and if you were to see him, you wouldn't necessarily think so, but he's extremely strong. That's not his greatest quality, of course. He also he's a pretty free soul. He likes to sing. He makes up songs, and he doesn't edit at all. And he puts up tons of videos. Like, I don't even know how many. It's like 600. I don't know how many videos he's got. Let me see if we can find out. But he puts up these iPhone videos. And recently he's been doing live shows. And he's taken off recently because of some real drama that he's been involved. I can't tell how many videos he's got. I don't know how you can tell, but I think there's a way to tell. But I think you could do a search for him, maybe. Anyway, he got about 11,000 subscribers, 5,122 videos, which is more than me on my various channels. So, damn, Garry. Now, Garry and I were supposed to talk this evening about this drama, and I told him after 9:30, and I called him, and he didn't answer. So Garry, and then he emailed me and called me a cunt, which is, I believe, a British thing to say. British people don't seem to take much stock in that word. Of course, I'm also not a female, so I guess it would be a different thing if you called me that word and I were female. Anyway, so Garry's a bit pissed off, but I don't really know how much of this is really interesting to you guys, but it is interesting to me, so I'm gonna tell you what happened, okay? Because it involves my good friend Mark too, on the peripheral edge, but it's really about Garry. So let me go back to this story. So Garry lives kind of out in the country, a little in the outskirts of Nagoya. In a city called Iwakura. I think everyone knows that. And in Iwakura, there's this crazy YouTuber, and I think that's commonly known as well. And his name, by the way, is, I believe, what the hell is AIUEO? So IUEO 700. I think that's his name. And the reason I'm saying I think is because he was recently banned by YouTube. They banned him. They erased his channel, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it's temporary or permanent. And it's really, this is what happened. So this other guy is a infamous troll. You guys know Surveillance Man? He's a guy that goes around in the States, I think in the States, and sticks his camera in people's faces. And people just freak out, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop that. You know, you're not allowed to film here. And he's like, whoa, what's the problem, man? What's the problem, man? Surveillance. I'm typing this in improperly, but it'll come up. Yeah, surveillance camera. Yeah, there we go. Surveillance cameraman. There he is on YouTube. You check this guy out too. It's the most bizarre thing you've ever seen. 88,000 subscribers. I don't think he's put a video. Oh, no videos anymore. What's going on? Oh, they've all been taken down. What the hell? Oh, that is one. Right? So he just walks into places, and I guess this is a compilation, and he gets in people's faces for no reason. People are like, what are you doing? And it's pretty annoying, but there's no law against it, right? Now in Japan there is a law against it, and this AIUEO 700 guy has been doing this in Iwakura apparently, and there's a few videos. He's so infamous that people have taken his videos and republished them and recopied them and put music to them and have played with them. He's become a living meme, a little bit like Garry. Garry's also a bit of a meme, a living meme. And I think anyway, there's videos all over of him getting in people's faces and people like outraged at him and just yelling at him, which is really rare in Japan. You don't see that much. People so angry, but it does happen. Anyway, so one day, about, I don't know exactly the timeline, but about a month ago or so, Garry's just walking down the street or something, and he happens to cross paths with this guy. And I don't think they know who the other is. I don't think they're aware of each other's existence yet. But he gets into his video, right? The other guy, I think everyone knows now, his name is Iwama. I don't know if that's his real name, but he gets into Iwama's camera shot by chance. He walks through, and someone notices him and starts telling everybody, oh, look, Garry's in Iwama's video. And Garry I don't think he realized at that time, because he says he doesn't remember it. He remember who was filming, but if I remember right. Anyway, so Iwama's video, or Aueo's video, takes off, like gets tons more views than usual. And Garry gets it in his head to start kind of, playing with this guy. He likes to play. He's got a good sense of humor. But if you don't know him, you might take it as equally trolling. So, from what I understand, Garry invites the guy. He gets a anime, like he goes to some anime store and gets or maybe he picks it up somewhere. I don't know where. He gets his hands on an anime doll, a figurine, like the crap I have behind me. But I don't have anime. I just have other childish crap, which my son is slowly stealing from me, which is good. Anyway, he gets this box and he puts it on this guy's door, right? And I'll call him Iwama because I don't know if it's his name, but anyway, Iwama takes it apparently and throws it into a rice field, and then it rained and it's so muddy that no one can go out and retrieve it because it's just so muddy, and Garry just can't be arsed to go get it. So then Garry thinks it'll be funny to make a video announcing that, oh, I'm so sad because I want to do a collaboration with Iwama, and I put 10,000 yen in that box, and apparently he'd never opened it yet. So then when Iwama apparently saw that video and crawled out into the field to retrieve the box, and then my friend Mark appears on the scene. Now Mark, if you guys have been watching my channel before, his nickname is the Crazy German Cyclist, and he is I wouldn't say cross-dressing. He's a cosplaying. He's heterosexual, but he likes to wear women's clothes, and especially a pink wig. And he traverses the country of Japan almost every summer for a week or 2 or 3 or 4. He's been here. The first time I met him was about 8 years ago. I was with my dog going to school, and he was going the other way with huge luggage strapped to a mountain bike. And I just thought it was such an odd sight that I stopped him and said, hey, what's going on? Anyway, long story short, I get into the whole thing, but we became friends. And he's a really, really nice person. He's a very polite person, a very good person. But if you didn't know him, and you met him now, you would just think he's kind of a nut. Which he is. I mean, everyone's a nut. Some people it just takes you longer to figure out that they're crazy. But anyway, he's a very nice guy and very polite. and he camps and rides his bicycle all over Japan, and he's been everywhere, and it's very impressive, the videos that he's filmed. Oh. Anyway, when he first came to Japan, he came on a work holiday, and Garry, yato means hired, hired him, yatotta, hired him to work with him on his at his company. And I'm not sure exactly what Garry does, but he has trucks. He has a few trucks, and he goes around and hauls away stuff from houses that are being torn down, and I think he resells some of the things. Anyway, I don't know exactly. But Mark had a job, and Mark is a skinny ass little guy. If you met him, you'd think he had no strength in him, but he's a strong, strong as hell as well. He's got no body fat at all, like literally 4% or something. And he's always bicycling, so he's always in shape. Anyway, so Mark works with him. Mark's German, by the way. I did say crazy German cyclist. So they became friends years ago. So every year, Mark tries to visit Garry to say hello. So this year, anyway, he's hanging out with Garry, and suddenly this guy on a black moped appears, wearing a black mask and a hat, kind of hiding his face. And he just hands Garry this anime box that Garry had, thrown out, put on Iwama's porch, and Iwama had thrown into the field. And anyway, they got a good laugh out of it, because obviously he had heard that there was 10,000 yen in it and gone into the field to retrieve it, and then, of course, had discovered there was no money in it and brought it back to Garry, pissed off. And nobody knows who the guy on the bike is, but it wasn't him. It was apparently someone who works with him. So Iwama's got friends. Anyway, so Garry's channel, by the way, is blowing up. Like, people who've been following. Iwama's kind of this. He's like a train wreck. A little bit. I want to say a little bit like Daniel, who I stopped following months ago, but I hear recently he's left Japan. Hiding in my room. So Daniel hiding in my room, a lot of people watch him because he's kind of a train wreck, and a lot of people actually like him. And the same thing with Iwama. Most people watch him because he's cringe-worthy. They just can't believe the stuff that he does. And other people actually have grown to like him, which I'm sure is would include some of the people who watch me as well. Anyway, so let's see, where was I? What happened? So, yes, yeah. So, a few days later, yeah. A few days later, Iwama's hit by a truck. Yeah. So, and he's in the hospital, and everyone tells Gary's doing the live shows, and they say, Garry, Iwama's been hit by a truck. He's in the hospital. You gotta go visit him. And now Gary's got all these Japanese people following him now, and he's grown like 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers in a month or something. I don't know. It's just crazy. So, if you want to see some weird drama, check out Gary's channel, which I will leave links to in the description. And check out just a search. I did a search for the Iwama guy, and you can see his videos. They're just weird. He gets in people's faces, and if you understand some Japanese at all, you'll find it quite cringe-worthy. But like, you just can't turn away. You gotta watch. It's so bizarre. And I remember actually seeing one of Iwama's videos years ago, not knowing that it was him. I just thought, whoa, this guy's an asshole. And now I see the connection. And the guy's in the hospital, so people are bugging Garry to go to the hospital and visit. And apparently he's trying. But anyway, that's that. I know that took a long time, and sorry. I should put a time thing going, telling you when. Was that 14 minutes already? Oh my god. Okay, let's get to some more international news. Yes, let's start with Kim Kardashian and that bullshit about the kimono. Now, I know Utah has done a video on it, but I haven't been arsed to watch it. And I actually kind of didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to repeat anything that he said, but I'm sure he's made a great video. He's a very clever guy, so I'm sure he's made a video about it. I have talked to a few Japanese about it, and they're upset about it, but I gotta tell you, as a person living in Japan for almost 29 years now, I don't even know how many. I came in 1992, I think, so somebody figure out the math. Okay, let me explain in case some of you do not know. Kim Kardashian, who I don't know at all. I've seen her speak once and recently because she was speaking at the White House because of prison reform or something, which just boggles the mind. And I've never seen her show, but I'm aware of it. Okay. From what I understand, she's kind of an idiot, but she's into fashion and she's into things that I'm not interested in, so I'm not gonna judge. So whatever. I guess obviously she's very successful. She's got I think I read 6 point something million followers on Twitter or something, and she commands a $500,000 fee to just promote something on Twitter Instagram. Instagram, that's what it was. Maybe, I don't remember. Anyway, she's got 6.7 million followers somewhere. So she has been working apparently for 15 years on underwear, and she's finally able to share it with everyone. And she's decided to call this underwear kimono. Kimono. And if you ever seen my crazy fat Greek wedding, my fat Greek wedding, what was that? You know that Greek wedding movie that was a big hit about 10 years ago. The guy gives a great explanation about where the word kimono comes from, but it's actually Greek, he says. If anyone can track that down, put it in the comments. It's pretty funny. Kimono, of course, you may know, is a traditional Japanese clothing. There's male kimono, female kimono. But we basically associate it with females. It is still worn in Japan, especially at formal events like weddings and graduations and coming of age day, things like that. And it's quite difficult to get into, to put one on, and often you have to go somewhere to have someone dress you. It is possible to dress yourself, but it's tough. My wife has gone to school, and I've got video of that I never put up, which I will put up soon. Someday. Well, not soon, but maybe sooner than later now that I have this powerhouse here. But anyway, recently in Japan, there's a Japanese woman putting out how to put on a kimono in 3 minutes videos, which are very popular. And the Japan Times has come out with an article saying that's not how kimonos are supposed to be worn. So everyone's got a big bug in their butt. About a big bug? Is that the expression? Stick in their butt, bug in their butt? I think we can do both. There's enough room in there for Osama bin Laden. So, yes. So there's a big controversy because Kim Kardashian has decided to name her tan underwear line. I'm assuming it's designed for healthy women. I don't know. Big butt, big breast women. I don't know exactly. I don't really care about fashion. But she's decided to name that kimono, and she wants to what's the word called? Copyright it? No, not copyright it. She wants to take the name. Is that called copyright? God damn it. Let's go to and just type in Kim Kardashian kimono. Is the word I'm getting annoyed by the word copyright. Just a minute. Oh, she's just agreed to drop the brand name kimono. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Trademark. I'm sorry, not copyright. Trademark is the word I was looking for. She wanted to trademark the word kimono. And people were going on to Twitter and saying, hashtag Kim OHNO. Like, oh no, Kim, oh no. Which I think is a great name, actually. I would have gone with that. So it's bizarre, but she wanted to copyright that. And I don't know if you can see this, but the headline here says, Kyoto mayor tells Kim Kardashian kimono shouldn't be monopolized, in quotation marks. And what's interesting about that, and I don't know if they even know this, but Monopoly, the game, remember the game Monopoly? They tried to trademark the word monopoly, and the judges said no. So there have been a lot of companies who've attempted to trademark certain words, and it hasn't worked. And this is an example like that. She probably would have failed. The problem, someone pointed out, some lawyer who wrote an article pointed out that the more Twitter followers that protested against Kim Kardashian for using that name actually we're building a case for her, because if she can prove in court that people identify the word kimono with her, she can trademark it. Trademark it? Is that what trademark it? Trademark it? Trademarking, yeah. It sounds funny now that I'm saying it many times. So she can trademark that word, because she can tell the judge, hey, look, whenever anyone says kimono, that word is associated with me, so I should be allowed to trademark that word. Anyway, the argument is now moot. It's moot, because she has agreed to drop the brand name kimono, and I don't know what she's going to call it. Yes. So she says, my brands and products are built with inclusivity and diversity at their core, and after careful thought and consideration, I will be launching my solution wear brand name under a new name. I will be in touch soon. So she's not going to use kimono. Here's what's funny to me. Okay, and the reason you should be watching my channel is because I've been here a long time and I can see both sides a little bit. Ooh. Boop, 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 boop. Blowing my own horn. Yeah, Japan's, this cultural appropriation accusation against Japan is kind of bullshit, because Japan has culturally appropriated basically everything in the world. And I mean, I don't have video of it now, but I'm sure you'll see it. I'm sure if you've seen it in my videos, because I've mentioned it, because I've made videos of me riding my bicycle through Japan. And you will see us, we will see me and us, well, because you're with me, drive through Japan. And I've actually driven by a store that's got a big red wooden American cigar store Indians standing in front of it, as they declare that they're selling steaks or something. But I mean, talk about cultural misappropriation. And of course, one of the most popular books here was called Sambo. Anyway, it's a story about a little girl who has curly hair, and she's black, and she's from Africa. And it was yeah, maybe you guys don't remember this, but there used to be a restaurant in America called Sambo's this is like 30-40 years ago. But that kind of stuff in Japan is rampant. You know, you still have stereotypical and racist depictions of black people, of white people in commercials, of almost any culture. So when it comes to, you know, insensitivity to other cultures, I would say Japanese are at the top of the list. But I won't say it's because of maliciousness. It's not with maliciousness. They see the differences as kind of comical or funny or interesting, and they love foreigners. I mean, they really do. Except they won't sit next to you in the subway, so it's that weird thing, you know. It's a little bit like Americans and black people. Like Americans, you know, all their favorite entertainers are black, but they're also a bit wary when they see one out on the street, a black person on the street, which of course is hypocritical. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. I'm going with this. So Kim Kardashian and all that bullshit. Let's go on. The next topic I want to talk about, which I think is interesting, is Japan is whaling. So in 1988, Japan banned commercial whaling, and they continue to do scientific studies. Now, back in the day, they were, I think, I got a link in the description again to the article, but they were catching about 2,000 plus whales, 2,277, I think, whales a year. Oh, where is it? This is a New York Post article, which is not my favorite, but I'm lazy, you know, just grab that. Anyway, they were nabbing about 2,000 plus. Yeah, I don't know. No. Through the research runs, there have been as many as 1,200. During research days, it's 1,200. So it must have been more when they were commercial whaling. I think I read it somewhere it was 2,000. Anyway, so here's the point. This year they've started again, and they're trying to promote whaling and eating whale to young people. And check out this quote from Hideki Moronuki, the Fisheries Agency official. Okay, this is obviously a quote from someone who does not know society. He says, "The future of commercial whaling depends on how popular whale meat can be." That's correct. I agree with that. Then he goes on and says this: "Whale meat is a traditional food in Japan. and I would like many people to try and develop taste for it, especially younger people. Bullshit. Not traditional. Traditional as far as World War II. Okay, apparently after World War I or II. Anyway, this century, people did not drink. Excuse me. The visuals here. People did not eat whale meat except in school lunches. And if you ask people, Japanese people now, who can remember, they'll say, "Yeah, I had it in my school lunch," but almost no one buys it in the store, and it's not found in most supermarkets because I always check. Because they did used to sell it in my supermarket years ago, but they stopped selling it. I'm assuming because people complained. There is a place out in Miyaken, which is south of me, and this is where the big dolphin hunts happen. And I remember going there. I used to teach out there actually. It's like an hour away. And there's this one sushi place. It's beautiful. It's a great sushi place because it's super, super fresh and cheap. And they serve you these delicious like plates of sushi, which is rare in Japan. Usually you buy them one by one, but this place sold you like dishes. Anyway, they had a section of the store dedicated to just selling meat that you could take home, and part of that was dolphin and whale meat. And I was impressed. Not in a good way. But I was like, well, I've never seen this before. Anyway, places like that are very rare. The point is, ask any Japanese person if they've tried whale meat, and chances are they haven't, and if they have, it's maybe once or twice, or a long time ago when they were kids. So there's no demand for it. There's very little demand for it, except for the people who fish it, who make a living doing it. And my argument is this. Ethically speaking, I think the West doesn't really have a foot to stand on when it comes to this. We kill animals. You can argue, okay, we raise our animals to kill, blah blah. But in the end, we're killing animals. Okay. Yes, they're wild animals, but I mean, like the West doesn't really have any moral superiority here. What's it called? We don't have a position of moral superiority here. Iraq War, 300,000 children killed. You know, come on. I mean, abortions. There's so many things we can argue. Not that I'm against the right for abortion, but I'm just saying that it's a very murky area to talk about. However, I will say this about Japan. It's not worth it. Not enough people in Japan support whaling for it to be a worthy thing to continue doing. So if I were the Japanese government, I would say, look, guys, I would tell all the few whaling people, the families who need whaling to survive. I would subsidize them. I would say, okay, look, guys, we're gonna buy you out and give you other businesses to run and shit, and that's it, because it's bad for the Japanese image. It's just not worth it. And the funny thing about Japan is that Japanese have that Woody Allen syndrome, in that they think they're better than everyone else, but at the same time they need everyone else's approval. And anyone who approves of them automatically becomes lower in their opinion. If you understand that. The Groucho Marx joke is, I would never want to date a woman who'd go out with someone like me. But I think the original was, I'd never want to belong to a club who would accept someone like me as a member. But you get the idea. Yeah. I got a timeout to say, I think my wife used to think I was much better until I proposed. And then she probably thought, what? She's proposing to me? This guy's an idiot. And then she decided to treat me that way. Well, but that was after the kids came, so maybe that had something to do with it. Sad music plays over the video for a few seconds. Okay, let's go on. Anyway, it's not worth it. I told you this video was going to go off the rails. No, we're happy. We just have kids, which means we're happy. But they're great. They're great. They're great. I can't wait till they're a little bit older. So Japan is whaling again after 31 years. I'm not for it, but at the same time, I think it's dumb. They should stop, but not for the same reason you probably think, because if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, oh, poor whales. Yeah, poor whales, but poor everybody. I mean, I think humans should watch out for humans first. That's my opinion. Here's something else that's interesting, and this is really old. But again, here's the thing I have to explain to you guys. I have two kids, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they watch. In the morning, I wake up and I watch Okasan to Ishoni, which is with mom. Let's play with mom, and it's this kids show, and I said it's a pretty good show. It's a really good show. I'm learning to like it, but I never would have chosen to watch that show. And I'm learning the songs, and anyway, it's a kid show. The point is, I don't watch the news in the morning, and when I come home, they're watching Anpanman or PJ Masks or Paw Patrol. Occasionally, they'll be watching Homecoming, Spider-Man, the DVD I bought my son. But mostly, or some kuwagata or kabutomushi, stag beetle, rhinoceros beetle type of video. My son's into bugs. Anyway, that's what they're watching. So I don't get to watch the news. And I've been really busy at work. I've been getting a lot of classes. People signing up. I'm going overseas. I need some classes. So I've been busy. But this came out apparently in April. I didn't know anything about it, which is surprising because I actually know quite a lot of people in the basketball world in Japan. Rui Hashimoto, this guy's been called by other people as Roy, but it's not. His name is not Roy. It's Rui. His father's from Benin, Africa. His mother is Japanese. I can't tell if they're divorced or not. Some students have said no, they're still married, but I heard him in an interview saying that his family only gets together once a year. He's a very handsome. If you look at him, you just say he's black, but obviously he's half black, half Japanese, but he looks just black. He's tall, he's handsome, he's fit, of course, and he's got a younger brother, and he is the first Japanese to ever be drafted in the NBA. So it's a milestone. He's apparently very good. He's working for I'm not working for. He's at some place called Gozanga or something. Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember it. Where the hell is it? Gozanga. Where's Gozanga? That's not it. Oh, there it is. So Rui Hashimura. I'm sorry, Hashimura. Did I say Hashimoto? I'm sorry. Hashimura will be the first Japanese player ever drafted tonight. His mother is Japanese. His father is from West African nation of Benin. And there's a link in the description to it. This tweet that you see in front of me, which is pretty cool. It shows that he opens up his jacket and he's got half Japanese and half African jacket, which is pretty cool. And if you do a little digging, you'll find videos on YouTube that talk about his growing up in Japan and dual cultural background, and how he was always stared at and he never felt comfortable. And he didn't pick up basketball until he was 13. Until he was 13, he played baseball. So he's what they call a late bloomer, right, in the basketball world. But apparently that's good for some reason. I don't really know why. Maybe injuries, fewer injuries. I don't know. But anyway, he's doing well. What's this? Oh, someone is arguing. Okay, someone is saying, no, that's not true. There's another guy that in 1954, was born in 1954. His name is Yasutaka Okayama. He's a Japanese basketball player, and he was selected by the Golden State Warriors as the 10th pick of the 8th round of the 1981 draft. Oh, but he did not sign with them. Okay. And he was 7 foot 8 inches, and he was the tallest player ever to be drafted in NBA history. So there you go. Maybe this is wrong. There's another guy named Yasutaka Okayama who maybe actually... But other people say, well, he never signed and he never played, so... Huh. Well, there you go. Anyway. Either way, it's good news. It's sad for me to see these videos of these halves, because he's half, hafu meaning half Japanese. People saying, that they had a tough time in Japan. Because my children are half. So, I gotta tell you though, my son is so funny. And Japanese-like. And I think he looks like me when I was a kid. When I was his age, I looked like that. But of course, there's a slight Asian version. He's got a slight Asian feel to him. But in the end, I don't see that at all. But I do see him learning Japanese very quickly. Like he's just picking it up so fast, and he's only 4, and I've been studying it forever, and he's already saying some things that took me years to be able to say. He just knows how to speak it. It's just amazing how fast kids are. And my daughter is starting to speak now, Buttercup, and it's funny because every day I hear her say something that I've never heard her say before, which is pretty cool. Like she said today, she goes, "Ni-chan tataita yo," which means my older brother hit me. But she said it very clearly, like, because he like slapped her, but it wasn't like a real hit. But she just wanted to announce it. Because until now, she's been communicating mostly by gestures and noises. Like when she's hungry, she'll actually point at something and then point to her mouth like this. Like, put that in my mouth. Get in my belly! Kind of thing. Which has always been so cute for me. Anyway, she's great. I took her to the aquarium yesterday, and we went outside to look at the penguins, and they have an outside holding pen, and she found flowers, and she picked all the flowers. She picked a whole bunch of flowers, and she was so happy to have her flowers. Anyway, well, thanks for watching this long ass video. This was last week in Japan tonight. I will come out with more. Oh, of course. Oh my God. I forgot the biggest goddamn thing ever. I should do a separate video. Trump went. This is important. Oh, hold on. Trump went to North Korea, and he's the first president, sitting American president apparently to ever do that. And I'm pretty sure Clinton went to North Korea. And I think Carter went too, but they weren't sitting presidents. And someone said something since Hanoi. I don't know, since the Vietnam War. I don't know. Anyway, here's what I want to say about that. And please be patient. I think Trump is an idiot in many ways, and a dishonest person, and a liar. And the lying really bugs me because it's just so obvious. I mean, it's so... And just the bullshit of his administration. Ivanka, is that her name? Ivanka, what is she doing there? Kushner, what is he doing? Sandra, what was her name? I forgot the woman the press secretary, who hasn't had a press conference in 100 days or so. Then she retired. Anyway, the whole administration is just an embarrassment, I think. However, I do want to say something positive. He became president, and the American people voted him in. And they say that the people deserve whoever they vote in. I mean, people always get what they deserve. So the American people, we the American people, I'm American, we deserve this kind of president because that's the president that best represents us, even if he did lose the majority vote. But it's not just that. It's, even if he did lose, even if Hillary actually technically got more votes, in the end, I think he aptly represents us because, if you log into YouTube or Yahoo or any news program or news webpage, it's the most ridiculous stories that pop to the top. Like there's a lot of reality stars I've never heard of, and they're always talking about their fights with their husbands, and some reality star's husband killed a dog or something, or some reality husband, or what, Chris Pratt got a sunburn. Like that was a top news story yesterday. Like seriously, that's a news story. This is what we're talking. This is a top news story. Like I think we're to blame because we are the people who click on those stupid stories. But I also think the media is to blame because they feed us that shit. Shouldn't they have some responsibility to say? Shouldn't there be some editor saying, "Look, this is for your own good, and I know you're interested in Chris Pratt's sunburn, but this is not top news, so we're going to put this on the second page. Why is it on the first page? I don't know. Or Meghan McCain getting insulted or something. Why is that on the top page? I don't understand that. But this is who we deserve. But here's some good news, kind of, maybe. So I honestly believe that Trump very intelligently arranged this sudden meeting with Kim Jong-un. I think that's his name. There's been so many, and I've known 3. I've been alive for 3 now. So, and he did that, and it's a photo op. The optics are great, and they're both enjoying it, and they're both getting a lot out of it. Mostly Kim Jong-un, I believe. Nothing has really changed. They're still they're still building nuclear weapons and stuff like that. However, I do think that in the future, it's going to be harder for North Korea to attack us and for us to attack them if we've had this history. So in that sense, I think Trump is actually doing a good job. I mean, he's laying down, he's making history. And although it's a really fucked up thing he's doing by pursuing this ego-based, photo op-based, optic-based policy, or diplomatic policy, diplomacy, whatever. I think it's like this is a reality show based diplomacy. But they both, if they're both invested in it, if Kim Jong-un is equally invested in it, then it might work in the end. I have to say that it really bugs me that Trump is so forgiving of people like Putin, who everyone pretty much knows has killed. I mean, I think everyone agrees he's killed okay. Even if they can't prove he's killed journalists, it's really suspicious that a lot of journalists who criticize Putin have disappeared or been killed or died mysterious deaths. One. The Chinese premier, I guess do we call him emperor now? I don't even know. He convinced his whole country to let him stay on in perpetuity, which is a kind of a fucked up thing to do. Number 2. Then, of course, Saudi Arabia. No one mentions the murder of that journalist, which a lot of intelligence, U.S. intelligence has said, hey, we're pretty sure he orchestrated the whole thing. But, if you got enough money, you got to deal with that. Now, part of me says, yeah, it's realistic. But it's still immoral. And a lot of you will say, well, Obama and Clinton, everyone dealt with Saudi Arabia too. Yeah, but we did pull back a little bit when things like this happen. I think at this point, if anything, the fact that Trump is president is going to tell everyone, do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you pay for it in the end by buying enough weapons. We don't give a shit. Which is a shame. I mean, look, everyone's a hypocrite. I understand that. You tell your kids, don't smoke, and you smoke. You tell your kids, don't have sex till you're 16, but you had sex before you were 16. Right? Well, maybe not you guys, but... Anyway. I know we're all hypocrites in a sense, so... I don't know. You can argue that Trump is just being real. But I'll tell you what. I do think that he is making it harder for our countries to ever have war, or even an exchange of anything, missiles and stuff. And you got to remember that North Korea is a fucked up country, because just a few years ago they attacked South Korea and killed a bunch of people on an island. I think it was like 6 years ago. And South Korea did nothing because they didn't want to start a fucking war. And if they had, America would have had to jump in, and Japan would have had to jump in. Speaking of which, so Japan hosted the G20 summit or something. Was it G8, G20, G8? I want to say G8 for some reason, but I think it's G20. Anyway, a big summit here just a few days ago, right before the Trump meeting Kim Jong-un on the DMZ. And Trump announced in a speech there that he had told Japan, he basically said, look, I told Japan they got to start paying more. And Abe apparently had been hiding the fact that Trump had mentioned that before. So a lot of people in Japan right now, not a lot of people, but some people in Japan right now have noticed that and said, oh, Abe lied to us because he said that he had no knowledge of such talks. Anyway, what I predict is America will demand more from Japan, and Japan will say, okay, because Japan is weak. And I don't say that with pride. I'm sorry that Japan is weak. I wish Japan was stronger. But you know, America's still, you know, it's still it's a huge country. It's a big country. It's a powerful country. Its military is amazing. So people still feel like they gotta agree with us, which I think is sad. Last point I want to make regarding all this political bullshit, because I want to remind you one more time, what Trump is doing in North Korea, I think is kind of empty, but it is laying down, it is becoming history, and history makes it more difficult for people to go against history in the future because it exists. So in that sense, it's good. I still think he should not be president for a ton of other reasons that I don't have time to get into, because it would just take another hour. You can just Google how many lies he's made during his presidency, and that's about 10,000, over 10,000, I think. The last point I want to make, which I think is interesting, is the Dalai Lama recently in an interview said that he would be open to a female predecessor, a female Dalai Lama in the future. But he said she would have to be attractive. And of course this destroyed the internet. By the way, I am so sick and tired of those labels. Destroyed, slammed, clap back. What's the other? You know, there's a bunch of others. Please write them in the comments if you can remember. But it's funny because Twitter people said, oh, you know, I just when you thought you couldn't be disappointed anymore, the Dalai Lama says this, you know. And then, but someone wrote, so the Dalai Lama is all for a female predecessor, but she's got to be fuckable. Which just made me laugh. But here's what the Dalai Lama was saying. He says he doesn't think the society will listen to a woman unless she's attractive. But the truth is, he's right. How many unattractive women do you know who wield real influential power? Now you can say, well, there's Merkel, she's ugly, or Thatcher was ugly. Yeah, but that's, I mean, no, you got a point. But actually, the more attractive you are, the more you can get away with shit. And the more people will pay attention to you. And the Dalai Lama is a kind of more of a public, it's not a political position like Merkel or Thatcher or Hillary Clinton. If you want to talk to unattractive people, you know, talk about unattractive but able people. I don't think anybody would say Hillary Clinton is fuckable or Thatcher was fuckable. I doubt there are porno movies with anyone pretending to be Thatcher. Or Merkel especially, poor lady. Apparently she's been shaking a lot recently. That's really disturbing to watch. I think the Dalai Lama is being very honest when he says, not honest. He's being very observant when he says that the next person, if the next Dalai Lama is female, she must be attractive because otherwise people won't listen to her. I think he's not judging. He's not saying that she must be attractive because that's the only way she'll have any knowledge. No, I think he's saying that's the kind of society we live in. And I think he's right. We are a shallow society. Kim Kardashian, 6.7 million followers. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching this long-ass video. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers. And I'm going to put this up with no editing at all. Well, I'll do my best. This supercomputer should be able to spit this out. It's now 2:14. I'm going to spit it out and go to bed. Good night. Good night. Oyasumi nasai. Buenas noches. That's all I know. I think I know more.
Give me a break, man. Give him a break because he sure deserves one.